What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Yordenis Ugas versus Mario Barrios, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the vacant WBC Interim Welterweight World Championship, and this fight is going to be Saturday, September 30th, from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on Showtime pay-per-view on the Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo main card, and I believe this is the co-main event. And to get into both fighters' resumes, Yordenis Ugas, fighting out of Cuba, holds a record of 27 wins with 5 losses and 12 wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently not ranked by BoxRec due to inactivity since he hasn't fought in over a year, but he is the former WBA Super and WBA regular welterweight world champion. And to list his defeats and some of his best wins, he has a TKO loss over 10 rounds against Errol Spence Jr., a split decision loss which was very disputed against Sean Porter for the WBC title. He also has a unanimous decision loss over 8 rounds earlier on in his career against Amir Imam. He has a split decision loss over 10 rounds against Emmanuel Robles. And then when it comes to some of his best victories, he has a unanimous decision win over Manny Pacquiao, which is definitely his best win to date. I know it was an older Pacquiao, but he was an underdog going into that fight, and he defeated Pacquiao and had a very solid performance. And then some of his other best wins include a split decision victory over Abel Ramos for the vacant WBA title. He also dominated Omar Figueroa Jr., winning by a lopsided unanimous decision. He also has a TKO win in 7 over Ray Robinson, a unanimous decision victory over 10 rounds against Tomas Delorme. He also has a TKO win over 4 rounds, and I posted highlights for this fight against Brian Perella, so I'd appreciate it if you guys could go check that one out. And he also has a unanimous decision win over former WBA regular champ Jamal James. But to get into his opponent's resume, Mario Barrios, fighting out of the United States, holds a record of 27 wins with 2 losses and 18 wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked number 27 by BoxRec in the welterweight division, and he is the former WBA regular super lightweight champion of the world. And to list his defeats and some of his best wins, he has a wide unanimous decision loss to Keith one-time Thurman in Thurman's comeback fight, and that was for a WBC final eliminator for the welterweight title, which is kind of interesting because Barrios lost that eliminator and Thurman wasn't the one that got the title shot, but now Barrios is. But who knows? I mean, we don't know if Thurman denied to fight or anything like that, but Barrio is the one fighting for it now. And the first loss actually of Barrios' career was that TKO loss in 11 rounds against Gervonta Tank Davis, when Davis moved up from lightweight to challenge for the WBA belt that Barrios held. And that was a pretty good fight while it lasted, but Davis got the TKO win. And to list some of Barrios' best victories, he defeated Giovanni Santiago by TKO in 8 rounds in his most recent fight, defeated Ryan Carl by KO in 6, and defeated Batir Akhmedov in probably his best victory by unanimous decision in a dogfight over 12 rounds happening in 2019. So when it comes to my opinion on this one, I think this one's a pretty tough one to predict. At first I was thinking, Yordenis Ugas should get the victory here pretty easily. Mario Barrios doesn't really have any wins over super high-level competition. I know he has very solid wins, like against Santiago and Akhmedov, and he's had some decent fights, like against Davis, even though he lost. But I thought that Ugas would just be a bit too skilled for him. But when you really think about it, Ugas hasn't been in the ring since getting beaten down by Errol Spence Jr. in April of 2022. So it's sort of tough to gauge where he could be in his career because he is an older guy. And, I mean, it's just really tough. And Ugas is like 10 years older, almost 10 years older or something like that than Mario Barrios. So it's just very, very tough to tell, really. And we don't know. Yordenis Ugas could age in a night. He could be just a much different fighter than what he was a few years ago. So we will really see in this one, and I'm actually very, very interested in it. And sort of just to break down how I see this fight going. I think that Mario Barrios throughout this one is going to be the one going forward. I think he's going to be somewhat of the aggressor in this one. And I think really that should be his game plan. I think that Yordenis Ugas obviously is known for sort of having a very calm style, having his hands sort of up to his chin. And he's not really known for firing off combinations. He's more of a one single shot guy. Likes to pop a big right hand, some jabs, move around a bit. Doesn't really have the greatest head movement. He's sort of stiff, but he's a very solid boxer, which is interesting. He's not really known for having like amazing footwork, but because his stance is sort of very stiff, like I said before. But he has very, very good timing and very, very good punch placement. Not really known for his power, but I mean, if he's able to time you with a good overhand right, he could knock you down, get a 10-8 round, hurt you, or stop you. And we saw that when Ugas fought Brian Perella, when he TKO'd him in 4 rounds. But yeah, when it comes to this fight, I think Ugas is going to try and fight smart like he did against Abel Ramos. And I think this could be a very, very similar fight to the Abel Ramos fight. Abel Ramos was just trying to come forward in that one. Just kept getting caught with some good jabs, good right hands. And I thought that he won a clear 9-3 type fight, 10-2 type fight over Ramos. And the judges gave it a split decision in favor of Ugas. And I think we could see that here. I think Mario Barrios is going to be maybe a bit less sloppy than Abel Ramos was. But I think it could be a fairly similar fight. I see Mario Barrios going forward a lot in this one, trying to throw combinations on Ugas, who's not really known for being the most, being like a fighter that's like throwing a lot of combinations back. Like I said before, Ugas just likes to throw a single shot, move around a bit, maybe 1-2, something like that. Not really anything too crazy from him. I mean, Ugas does the basics very, very well, which is why he got to a world title shot and became a world champion and has fought for the title numerous times. But in this one, I think this one's going to go the distance, if I'm going to be honest. And I think that the earlier rounds in this one, I think Ugas will primarily have the edge. I think that he'll just be the one landing the better shots in the first half. And I think that Barrios will be getting caught, and Ugas will just be the one landing a bit of the better shots. But I think that I think that Barrios could have his moments in some of the rounds in the first half. He might be a bit more active than Ugas in terms of his punches thrown, and some people could see that as ways to give him rounds. Even if he's a bit less effective than Ugas, just by seeing more punches thrown, they could give it to him. Especially the judges, which is probably what they saw when Ugas fought Ramos. So after 6 rounds, I could see this fight being 59-55, could be 58-56 in Ugas's favor on some people's scorecards, but I see Ugas primarily being in control in the first half. Then in the second half, at the start of the second half, like round 7, 8, could be round 9, I think that Ugas will still start to land better shots than Barrios. I really don't think Barrios will be landing many super clean shots on Ugas, but I think that he could definitely be landing a ton of shots on Ugas, on his gloves, on his arms a bit, because I really think that's got to be his game plan. He's got to rough up Ugas if he's going to want to win this fight. He's got to make him uncomfortable and not let him fight his fight by just having Barrios step in, get caught with some shots, and really have it being fought at Ugas's pace. But for Ugas, obviously, that's the 100% game plan he's going to want to utilize in this one. And yeah, I think that after like 8-9 rounds in this one, could be somewhere around 88-83, 87-84 in Ugas's favor from the boxing fans' perspective. But being that it's in the arena, there could be more fans rooting for Barrios in this one. Could be more people cheering in the arena for Barrios's pressure that I'm assuming he'll most likely fight in that somewhat style. I think that obviously the judges' opinions could be swayed, and I think that that it could be a bit closer on the judges' scorecards. Could be something like an 86-85 after 9 rounds. Could be really, really close on the scorecards. And obviously with Ugas, I mean, he's almost been robbed numerous times in his career, like against Abel Ramos, like against Sean Porter as well, and some of his earlier fights in his career. He's just been on the wrong end of some decisions. So, I mean, it's really going to be tough to judge how the judges are going to see this one. But then when it comes to the real late rounds in this one, like the championship rounds, I think Barrios will have most of his success in this one. I think that he'll be able to go forward against Ugas. I think his corner will be urging him on, and I think that he'll outwork Ugas in those really late rounds, like 10, 11, and 12. He could edge those ones. But in the end, I think this fight will go the distance, and I think that it will be a pretty clear win for Ugas, despite, I think, Barrios doing better in the later rounds. But I think that the judges could have this one really, really close. I think that could be a clear, like, 116, 112, 115, 113 win for Ugas. But the judges could give it a split decision, majority decision, something like that. But I would say primarily this should be like an 8-4 type fight for Ugas. Could be a bit wider than that, just depending on how you're scoring it. And I think that Ugas should be getting a decision victory here. And that's my final prediction. I got Yordenis Ugas winning by decision in this one. And very similar to my prediction for the Canelo Alvarez fight in the main event, I'm not going to pick exactly if it's a majority, unanimous, or split, because the judges could see this fight in a completely different way, because it's two contrasting styles. One guy who likes to land and score points with his shots, and one guy who is going to come forward and really try and rough up his opponent. I know Mario Barrios isn't really known for having that sort of bob and weave, get in the inside style, but I think he's going to be much, much more aggressive than Ugas will be in this one, and he'll be deemed the aggressor in this one. And but in the end, I think that the judges should get this one right, hopefully in Ugas' favor, and I think that Ugas will just have the better work overall, especially in the first half, and I think he will be getting the decision victory. So if you made it this far in the video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could go hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment down below your thoughts on this fight and who you're predicting. So overall, I believe that Yordenis Ugas will get a decision victory over Mario Barrios to become the WBC Interim welterweight champion. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.